This is the Thinking Effect, where we help you do your daily best. And I'm your host, Tom Danger. This week, now I know you've been thinking about starting a podcast, or you got this idea and you're kind of struggling with it and you're procrastinating about what you should do. Well, this week we're going to talk about the 5 things that you need to do to get started. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. And as always, I thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Um, Happy to see it toward the end of the year. Give yourself a round of applause for making it, just for waking up this morning. I know sometimes we get bogged down with life and, you know, stuff just seems to weigh heavy, and we're always trying to figure out what's the next move and what's the next play and all that stuff. But just the fact of being present in itself is something to be applauded. So, you know, give yourself a big old pat on the back for just showing up. Um, Couple things. If you haven't heard already, I do have a new album out. It's Motivation and Confidence Volume 2. It's on all streaming platforms. There's also a book, Motivation and Confidence, Building Up Your Confidence. And I also have a free mini course. It's a free mini course. It's how to improve your confidence in 7 steps. I'll leave the links in the bio for you to check out. But, I went out to dinner with some family this past weekend, and it was an interesting conversation because I started talking about social media and how, we all have a voice and how you can use your voice to, one, be heard, but secondly, to make you some money. And it all depends on what you want to do and how you want to do it. So, for those of you who don't know, I started out this podcast as a way to document and what's the word I'm looking for? I was looking for a way to express my emotions in a healthy way without going into depression while my mom was sick, even though she's passed away now. So in one selfish mind, I could have said, well, podcast's over, that journey is done. But I realized that there are some of you who reach out to me in which the voice matters. So I continue to be here to serve you, and I'm honored to. Thank you, and I don't take it lightly. But in going out, I realize in talking to some people, I have to be careful that certain people don't have the fire that I have. I have the type of fire to where if I don't know, I'm going to figure it out. I care a little bit about what people think, but not as much as what most people may think. I like to just jump in hands on. If you notice sometimes in the podcast, the audio will sound a little different. I may start recording and I have this lovely microphone here, or I may have a particular camera. And on that particular day, I may not have access to this mic, or something technical may go wrong with this microphone, or I may not have the same camera. But I'm a firm believer in the message. So if the message is being brought across to you and you can hear it, right? I don't really think you care whether or not I use the Shure microphone, the Blue Yeti, the headphones, or the camera microphone, or the lavalier microphone. I have all of these. I have every gadget in the world. So when people hit me with technical stuff like, "Oh, well, maybe you should," it's like, I just wanna kick it with the people. And I would like to give those of you who may want to start a podcast just, a couple of small pointers. Okay. The first thing is a concept. So think about what it is that you want to talk about. I like to say, if you're not sure on what to talk about, I would narrow it down to these 2 things. One, give your perspective on current events, or Two, talk about your everyday life and what's going on. Because as much as you think that people think that it's boring, it's not. It's very interesting to hear how other people spend their day and organize their day and just handle the things that they go through. So think about what you want to talk about. The second thing is, you know, identify the name of the show. And I think the name of the show, you want to get like a little deep, is you want to think about who you're talking to and how you're talking to them. You know, when we first started out, motivation and confidence was a very popular term. And over the years, it got even more popular. And then the word motivation, or everybody became a motivational speaker, it just sort of, no one took it serious. So we had to rebrand it and think of personal values. So you can think of what personal values you have. And if you're not sure about your values, I always talk about the assessment, but you can Google any assessment, personal values assessment, and you take it. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes, and it'll tell you what values you hold near to you and sort of how you think and how you can attach your values to your podcast and, you know, parlay that into the name and the tagline, the thinking effect. We help you do your daily best. That's really part of my values and how my mind works. And then you want to think about what platform you want to use for distribution. I've been using Spreaker for, I guess, almost 6 years now, because it's a mobile app. And at the time, I just wanted something that I could use really quickly. But over time, they've morphed or grown into a pretty sizable platform with some cool bells and whistles, so it can get you on Spotify, Apple, Tidal, any place where the other major podcasts or broadcasted or distributed. You can go through there. They have a free, I think they have a free starter program, but I use one that's like $20 a month or whatever. It gets you X amount of gigabytes, and it allows for people to advertise. I would say don't come into the idea wanting to make money straight off the bat. You can, but I would say like really build with your audience first before you try to sell anything, because then otherwise you just come off like a little cheesy. So get your platform. And then you want to think about what type of device that you want to use to record on. Do you want to, if you have money to burn, do you want to go to a studio and record it? They have podcast studios now. Do you want to do it in home like I have, my microphone running into my laptop? I used to do it into my tablet. I started out with a Blue Yeti microphone, pretty standard. Since then, I've updated to this Shure, I think it's the SM57. It's a better microphone. We're very visual, and it's good for social media to record the podcast, because then you can take little snippets and put it out. You could also transcribe the podcast, and then you can have show notes or a blog post, and you can make tweets from it. So that's another little hack that I use. But it's mainly a microphone and a device to record the audio. And if you don't have anything at all, just use your phone. I used to use, these are my earbuds, because you can have it close to your face. And be consistent. Think about if you want to have guests on the show, or if you want to have it sort of like a monologue, like I do. Some people find a monologue a little bit challenging because it's sort of like talking to yourself, but I never feel like I'm talking to myself because I know I'm speaking to you, and I know that I'm answering the questions based on conversations that I've had, or comments that I'll see people leave. So I know that I'm speaking to that. And then you just have to, set a goal. Like when you start out, like don't just do one. Like I would say start with a minimum of 4 episodes. I would say don't make them less than 5 minutes and no longer than 40 minutes to an hour. Anything longer than that, it's kind of tough to bear along with. So you don't want to lose your listenership. And see how it goes. See how you like it. You don't need to have a whole bunch of stuff. You just need to have an idea. And I think the most important thing to it is, and this is not, throwing around a buzzword, but be authentic. Like really, really be yourself. Like however you speak, you don't have to cater to anyone. This is your platform. It's your show. It's your voice. We want to hear your perspective about things. And every time you turn on this camera and this microphone, just show up and be you, and you'll add value to somebody else's life. If there's something that you'd like for me to discuss on the podcast, please let me know. The contact form is in the show notes, but if you want to hit me directly, tommydanger@gmail.com, TOMMYDANGER at gmail.com. You can hit me up that way. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. This is The Thinking Effect, where we help you do your daily best.